Hey there! Welcome to this explainer. Today, we're jumping right into something super important, getting you ready for an amazing, stress-free day at Farmer Palmer's Farm Park by breaking down their exact accessibility features. Look, if you or a family member use a wheelchair, a mobility scooter, or have a physical impairment, navigating a farm park can honestly feel a little daunting sometimes. But it really doesn't have to be. We're going to dive directly into the park's layout, the paths, and the facilities so you know exactly what to expect before you even leave the house. Our goal today is to give you clear, practical information that sets you up for a fantastic day out.
Okay, let's dive right in. Here's our game plan for today. We'll start with Welcome to the Farm, move into the main yard hub, then tackle navigating paths and terrain, look at wheelchairs and mobility aids, and wrap up with accessible toilets and facilities.
To get our bearings, let's visualize the park's layout. It's kind of like a giant puzzle. Down on the far left, you've got the entrance and car park, which leads straight into a dense cluster of buildings. That's our main hub. But as you sweep over to the right, it really opens up. You've got the outdoor animal pens, the trim trail, the maze, and all the way out there, the dinosaur roar trail and woodland areas. Grasping this layout is absolutely crucial because the distance and the actual ground beneath your wheels will change depending on how far you venture from that main entrance.
All right, Section 1, Welcome to the Farm, Arrival and Entrance. Let's start right where your day begins. So, before you even hit the front doors, we got to talk about parking. The main car park holds about 80 cars, and it's mostly a gravel surface. But, and this is a big but, Farmer Palmer's has set aside 4 designated disabled parking spaces right near the entrance. Plus, there are 5 more disabled spaces literally right outside the front doors facing down the slope, so you get a totally easy exit. These spots are completely free of charge, making sure those very first rolls out of the car are as convenient and smooth as possible.
Now, if you're not driving, no worries at all. You can just hop on the number 40 bus from Poole or Swanage. It drops you right at the bottom of the drive. Once you make it up to the building, you'll enter through the right-hand door of the gift shop. And let me tell you, these doors are perfectly wide enough for mobility scooters and wheelchairs. If you ever need a hand, the staff are super friendly and ready to help with the doors. Oh, and quick tip, they offer discounted concessionary rates for disabled visitors and their carers when you book online. Basically, getting in is designed to be a total breeze.
Once you're through those wide doors, you find yourself right in the heart of the action. This brings us to Section 2, the main yard hub, central amenities.
The minute you roll into the main yard, the access is fantastic. Take the Hen House restaurant, for example. It's got this incredibly spacious indoor seating area, and it is entirely step-free. Now, it does get pretty buzzing in there, especially around that lunchtime rush between 11:30 and 1:30. But the tables sit on a flat, painted floor, so wheelchairs and buggies can generally maneuver without a hitch. And hey, if things ever feel a bit too snug, the team there is always happy to shift tables around and clear a path for you.
Stepping back outside, here's the absolute biggest takeaway for this central zone: flat concrete surfaces. From the entrance all the way through this main yard, it's totally flat concrete. That means seamless, easy rolling access to the shop, the restaurant, the small animal barn, the little farmer's play barn, and the main toilets, all without ever leaving that smooth paving. If covering long distances or dealing with bumpy terrain is tough for you, this central hub is basically your easy rolling safe haven.
But, it is a farm park. You're going to want to explore. So let's jump into Section 3, navigating paths and terrain beyond the hub.
The difference between the indoor spaces and the outdoor paths brilliantly illustrates exactly what you need to prepare for. You've got the flat, smooth, painted floor of the indoor areas on one hand, and the natural wood chip trail of the wider park on the other. It's awesome that the majority of the park is step-free, for sure, but the ground itself definitely changes. Once you leave the concrete of the main yard to check out the big barn or the animal pens, those paths transition to gravel. And further out, you'll be rolling directly over grass.
To put that into perspective, there's a really clear divide here. The main yard is smooth sailing. The wider park, that's going to take a bit more effort. Remember, this is a working farm environment. You're going to encounter gravel, wood chip trails, and grass. You might hit small potholes, natural divots, uneven ground, and even a few slight inclines in places. Spots like the big animal barn or the dinosaur roar trail are a fair trek from the entrance, so setting clear expectations about this terrain up front is absolutely essential for pacing yourself and managing your energy for the day.
So, knowing what the ground is actually like, how will your specific gear handle it? Let's talk about it in Section 4, wheelchairs and mobility aids getting around.
The magic number here is 2. Farmer Palmer's keeps exactly 2 free-to-use wheelchairs right in their reception shop area. If you're someone who is totally fine doing short distances but might run out of steam heading all the way out to the animal pens or the dinosaur trail, you can ask to borrow one of these. It is a fantastic backup plan to just keep in your back pocket.
If you're bringing your own wheels, let's break down how they'll fare. If you're rocking a powered or motor wheelchair and it's fully charged, of course, you're going to have an easy time accessing the park. It'll handle those slight inclines and mixed terrains like a champ. Now, if you use a self-propelled manual chair, you do need to know that covering the entire park might be a real workout because of the distances and those little hills. And if you're in a manual chair being pushed by someone else, totally manageable, but the person pushing really needs to be ready for the physical effort of navigating that gravel, grass, and wood chip.
Now, while almost the entire park is wonderfully step-free, there is one major exception we absolutely have to talk about: the super popular tractor-trailer ride. The official guidelines state, and I quote, "The trailer does require a person to climb 4 fairly deep steps. No access to wheelchairs or mobility scooters." We want to make this super clear so there are no surprises or disappointments on the day. If climbing 4 deep steps just isn't doable for you, you'll need to plan around sitting this specific activity out.
All right, let's move on to our final and probably most essential logistical detail. Section 5, accessible toilets and facilities. Because knowing where you can take a comfortable break is literally the secret to a stress-free day.
What's really interesting about their facility setup is just how comprehensive they've made it, while still being totally upfront about limitations. First off, there are 3 disabled-friendly toilets spread across the park, so you're never too far from one. Some of them are even big enough for a carer to step in and assist. They all have step-free entry, wide doors, and plenty of turning space for a wheelchair. Grab bars? Check. Lowered sinks and mirrors? Check. But, and this is a really important but, they do not currently have a hoist available. So if a hoist is an absolute must-have for you, please keep that in mind when planning your trip.
And that wraps up our explainer. We've journeyed through the smooth concrete of the central hub, tackled the gravel and wood chip trails of the wider farm, figured out how different wheelchairs handle the terrain, and checked off exactly what to expect from the facilities. Armed with all this knowledge, you can completely skip the guesswork. So now that you know the exact lay of the land, how will you plan your accessible adventure at Farmer Palmer's today? Thanks so much for hanging out with me, and I hope you have an absolutely brilliant, empowered visit.